We good? Welcome back to another episode of the Harbor Site. Today we have, well, you guys know we have Mr. Johnny Slicks. Should it like applause? Like, woo! Talented Miss Capra, aka Miss Koumalatsos. And then we also have Kaitlyn.
Hi.
Also known as Staff
Sergeant.
Staff Sergeant.
Yes, that is me.
Who is actually active duty. Miss Capra.
So disclaimer, really quickly. We just wanted to, I want to say this like as a whole because we're talking about something very kind of a hot buzz topic today. So I just want everyone to holster their keyboards. Just go ahead and stick those.
You can't steal my line.
I just did.
That's my line.
I just did.
Holster your keyboard.
Yeah, you say it. Because there's a few things we want to just get across, and we don't want any nasty, disrespectful comments. So, like, I'd like to hit that.
You just, like, by saying that, you just open the floodgates for nasty disrespect.
People are already typing. They're like, I don't know what this is about, but I'm mad.
I don't want to hear, like, I'd hit that, I would rail that out. Let's refrain from, like...
You just gave them all the comments to say.
That's the first comment.
Let's just keep it a little bit clean, and then I think you kind of have a quick disclaimer.
Yes, so I need to say that I am speaking from personal experiences in my military career, and I am not talking on behalf of the Marine Corps in any type of way. This is how I feel personally, and through my experience, how I've come to these conclusions.
I wanted her to show up in alphas, but
like checking in.
Stopping by.
Man. The canted cover.
Oh no.
Okay, so I just wanted to read a little blurb from an article that was in the Marine Corps Times in March of this year. So keep in mind, as I'm reading this, she was even just telling me some of these stats are just a little bit off because it's been 6-8 months since this article was published. But I just wanted to go over a few things. So 2 years after the Defense Department ordered the Marine Corps to open all combat arms career fields to women, less than 100 women have successfully entered those previously male-only jobs. A total of 92 women are operating in a multitude of combat billets across the Corps, from riflemen and armored reconnaissance to combat engineers. Yet only 11 women are serving today in the traditional 03 infantry career fields. Marine Corps officials said no women have attempted BRC or amphibious reconnaissance course, and there are no female snipers currently. Again, that could have changed, I don't know, since...
That's still the case for those three.
So we're talking about this today.
Real quick, before we start, Johnny, what are your thoughts on...
Why do I not open that? I don't want to open this. Let the professional.
What's your thoughts on... You're starting to sweat.
I should have brought my water bottle with a look on it.
Yeah. Refrain from using terms such as wook.
What is your...
I wasn't going to. I don't think I've ever actually used that term.
What is your thoughts on women in the military?
Thank you.
So, I am all for equality. I use equality.
Why does equality get air quotes?
Because, okay, so that's something that we were discussing before. Equality. There really isn't, and there shouldn't be. Now, I could elaborate on that, but I think we'll go into that later. I don't think... I'm going to get so many bad comments. I don't think women should be in the military.
At a whole?
I don't think...
At all?
I don't think... I mean... Now, there are the MOS of Cook and stuff like that. Now I am going to get bashed. See, that's what I'm saying.
Did you just call a Marine, all military
You
service?
just said good in the kitchen. That's what he said. Women belong in the kitchen in the 1920s.
We'll elaborate.
I want to go first.
Well, and I've talked to Johnny about this. He has stories, because I thought it was only, you know, I'll throw it out there. Like, I don't think that women should be in combat arms MOSs, I'll dive into the why. And I thought they were like a decent, like, it would be good in a support role. This is Nick speaking. And then Johnny brought up a good story of issues that it even causes in a support role. And but anyways, that's
because it's not based on MOS, because any MOS, like especially in the Marine Corps, they all tie into each other. They all interact together and that affects everybody, every MOS. So like, and I didn't mean women belong in the kitchen and only in the kitchen. I'm just saying that like support roles. It affects everybody on every level.
I have some stories, but I don't want to get it.
Someone else go.
So, well, just before she dives in deep, because she's about to crack your skulls, I just want to say the biggest thing is, okay, we got to look at throughout history, what is the reason that females were put into the military to begin with? Does anybody know that?
I know.
Okay.
To allow more men in the combat roles.
So when we were in a draft,
Yeah.
and we had issues with running out of supplies, running out of people
Men.
taking care of, or they were getting blown up and shot because they're running into fire at each other. You're running out of people to do medical careers within the military. We needed more nurses. We needed more people to make bullets. We needed
And
more.
there was classes that were a part of boot camp where women were taught how to do their makeup and how to do their hair, and they were given grooming classes when they first came in. That's a thing. That's what they did
That's
when
amazing.
they first came in. Did you not know that?
Is that still a thing?
No, not anymore. I mean, they teach you how to pull your hair back and do that sock bun or whatever.
thing?
Yeah, the slick back hair. But
Nice.
prior to, like,
So
there
hot.
was
Shrink.
makeup classes, and they taught you etiquette and things like that, like in a league of their own, you know?
Yeah.
Gracefully. Just like that back in the day. So that was a real thing.
So this was out of necessity. Our country needed all hands on deck, right?
Communicators, nurses, supply people, administrative people. I mean, the men, they were pushing men to combat service support or like direct support or actually in combat. And so,
I mean, it was in the propaganda. I mean, everybody knows the Rosie the Riveter little drawing. Why did they come up with that? Because they wanted women to get their hands dirty and fucking help, because we needed the help, right?
Yeah.
So I think we can all agree as a whole.
she dropped the first F-bomb, by the way.
I think we
Of
can
course.
all
can't
agree.
believe it wasn't
That
me.
should be like a tradition on every video.
Just her.
First.
She opens the gate, and then
little
the rest of
counter
us.
down at the bottom, how many there were.
I think we can all agree as a whole that this is something that came to be because it was a necessity, and it's something that like we all need to. So if you're somebody who wants to support your country, like service to your country is like this is the standard for our country. We have probably more female. Well, that's not true. The Israelis, everyone gets drafted, but we have a good sizable amount of females within the military, in the Marine Corps too.
Well, when I was in, it was 6%. I don't know what
It's
it
at
is
8
now.
right now.
8.
8%.
So 8% of the Marine Corps is female.
So, it was a necessity. It's something that we needed, right? Today, Miss Kaitlyn, and project your voice, please.
Yes.
Tell us what your thoughts are on female roles within the Marine Corps, not the military, Marine Corps specifically, today.
Totally her personal opinion.
Yes, this is not the Marine Corps. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not trying to get people to enlist in
You
any
would be a
kind of way.
horrible recruiter.
Yes, I would. I think that our role, I've been in for 12 years. My experience, I think that our role is just to do whatever it is we went to school for. My job, I'm an ammunition technician. I never had any ideas of doing anything other than what I joined the Marine Corps to do, which was be a logistics ammunition technician. So count my bullets and go home at the end of the day. I never wanted to change any of that. I understand a lot of the people that have issues with females being in the military, but I don't think that it is any different than a female working in a corporate office. You're gonna have issues between men and women, and they're still going on. And I just want to do my job. I never came in trying to be something that I'm not, and that's pretty much it.
That's a good point though, because you just brought up like there's no difference in a corporate job, which is true because like we know all like the joke about like what happens at the Christmas parties,
Yes.
right? People making out in the copy room or whatever. So I mean, you're always going to have that female-male dynamic in a workplace, whether it be the military or corporate. So
And there's necessities to each one too. Like
Yeah.
even in corporate jobs.
Yeah.
There's necessities. There has to be mixture. There has to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can I just like
Dive in. We're
Crack
doing it.
in.
We're doing
I just
it.
want to crack into this.
Let's do it.
So obviously there's this big push, you know, the whole equality and Me Too, and then so how that transpires to the military is now they're pushing women into direct combat arms MOSs.
92. As of March, there was 92 in combat arms positions.
Yeah.
But 11 in 03. So
Yeah.
that's a very small number compared to like 92, but only 11 of them are actually 03 XX.
I'm gonna go ahead and people are gonna like probably nail me, and I'm torn because I have daughters and I'm all about them being completely like super independent and then like them being whatever they want to be. You know what I mean? But when it comes to combat arm MOSs and females in those MOSs are like, it's just not a good idea. It's not the way it was meant to be. It's not okay. This is Nick's opinion, is I'm just not down with it. I think it's going to cause more issues than it's worth.
Explain that, elaborate, because no one knows what you're talking about just yet.
So, for instance, and I'll speak from personal experience, like with the FET teams. I think at the time they were called the female engagement teams, and I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what they're still called that.
Yes, there's still some of them going on. I think they do them on Muse.
I get it. It's a good idea, and it briefs well on paper, and it makes sense. The problem is with the execution. You take 14 guys that are type A, that are essentially like you could put those 14 guys or 14 to 20 guys at Vegas and do a show, and they would make millions. These are the guys that like women, they put them on a cover of like women romance novels, right? Mm-hmm. They're big, they're jacked, they're ripped, they're tan, they all look gorgeous.
Their testosterone's really,
Or alphas.
really high.
Yeah, there's a lot of water, there's a lot of testosterone in the water they're drinking. And then you put one female in this savage group of people in the mix. And I've watched it happen. I've watched all these dudes' peacock feathers come out, you know, and there's just a bunch of peacock. And like Johnny said it best, is like mental readiness. Gone. Like that becomes, and I can't get mad at it because, yeah, you should stay focused and be professional. Whatever, man. At the end of the day, it is natural. It is a natural thing for men to be attracted to women and for men to, you know, project their manliness in the presence of a female. And
just like they sniff each other's butts when they meet each other. Like they're all like,
right.
Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Oh, yeah. On the on Raider Party trips, like when we first get all the guys together for the first time, everybody's like, for the first like couple hours, it's all like butt sniffing, and be like, who are you? Where'd you go? And then it kind of like levels out, and everybody's friends. But initially, that's the way it is. And I've seen such a distraction. Not even getting into, and I might let Kaitlyn jump into this one, but like marriages and things like that. I mean, you're gone for 9 months to a year. Your wife's back home taking care of your kids, and then they drop this pretty young female at your doorstep that you have to be professional with.
I don't think she'd have to be pretty. She could have fucking polka dots.
We all know what
I was trying to be somewhat PC.
Pretty, you have Marine Corps pretty, you have deployment pretty, you
have
have like
desert flower
pretty. Of pretty. But I think the problem is with women being in those combat roles is that the focus is so much on physical capability, and that's not an issue. I mean, at some point, a female is going to physically be able to pass all of the things that a male can do.
I think you'd give it a good run.
You couldn't pay me enough money to do it. But
she's probably one of the few females that can. How many pull-ups are you like?
I was at 18.
At 18 before the baby?
Yes. So I was at 18.
She could beat me up.
And that's the problem, is everybody's like, well, they're not physically, they can't do it physically. I think the bigger issue is like what you were talking about, is that you cannot change the way a society has been for years. You cannot change society's mindset to think that that's not a problem. Like, we don't have one woman here, and I saw her first, and then she starts dating your friend, and then you have dynamic issues on your teams or in your unit or your platoon or whatever the case might be. And it's impossible to stop a man from looking at a woman as a romantic interest or a sister or something in that kind of capacity, and you can't change that. And one day a woman's going to pass all these tests that they can't right now, and that's not why we don't belong there. It's because you cannot change a mindset of an entire society in a couple of years. It's just
and it's not just that. It's like you want to say, well, it should be like a corporate environment. Let's get something straight. A deployment and being in a combat arms MOS is not a corporate environment. So like you can have HR and you can be politically correct and you can do that. At the end of the day, that is not a place for a corporate environment. It's completely different. You cannot, like, you can't blend the two. Or even compare the two together. It's completely different.
And something that you've really helped me to understand is just like how fragile and important those relationships are for your team. Like that little core group of guys that's going over to like do these operations has to stay a unit, has to stay as one. Yep. And to get in there and like, okay, so let's say she does go over and maybe her and a guy hook up. Well, then what happens when she hooks up with the next one? Then you and that dude
or they have a falling out in the middle of a
and
deployment.
Then those two are at it. And then there's aggression with it. It just creates a different level of issues.
I don't know if can I touch on the physical aspect thing?
Well, I was going to read this really quick.
Okay.
Is that okay? Mm-hmm. This is what she was saying. This is pretty important. For few women have even trying to enter the Marine Corps in a combat arms job field. Only 51 female recruits entering boot camp the 8-month period between October 1st, 2016 and May 31st, 2017 entered with a combat arms job field. Of those, 13 passed the MOS classification standard test.
So what that is our physical fitness test is crunches, pull-ups, and a run time. So for the load-bearing assessment, if any female wants to go like myself or a recruit, whatever the case may be, they have to do at least 6 pull-ups. They have to have a run time of under 24:51, and they have to do, I want to say it's like 80 crunches, which is silly, but the other 2 are the ones that they're really not passing. And if you don't have those 3, you can't go to that, you can't even try, pretty much. So those are the requirements to be in a combat-related MOS.
One of my daughters said Nick, which they probably would say if I wasn't paying attention. It would go from dad to Nick. But if they said, "Hey, Dad, I want to join the military. I want to do this combat arms," I would be like trying to, eventually at the end of the day, you're 18. It doesn't matter what your parents say. You're going to do what you want to do, and that's your right. But I would so try not to get them to do that, because here's the issue. Yes, I agree. At some point, there's going to be some badass chick that's going to be able to like crush everything and crush a bunch of dudes.
Probably Jennifer Garner.
And but my worry is, and this is founded information, is the longevity of health.
Exactly, that's 100% correct. Our bodies were not made to carry 100 pounds on our back and walk around. To
maintain that for like. You can get a CrossFit chick, and I guarantee if she went through a selection, she went through a rip, she would make it for a period of time. But the issue comes into the longevity of that individual and how long is their hips, their spine, their shoulders. I mean, we get wrecked. Mm-hmm. Men get wrecked after a decade of doing this. And then we've seen females that beat their bodies up that way. Their hormones get out of whack, their periods stop, they
deteriorate their hips.
They deteriorate their hips, and you're genetically, and I'm going to get torn up, but this is just the way it is. Genetically, we're not built the same. We're not the same interiors that we are. And if men are getting broken down and professionals, I mean, we're talking about professional level athletes are getting broken down out of a decade of doing that job. What's that going to do to like a female? And then, God forbid, she is put in that position and her body fails her, and she's in a situation where there's somebody relying on her.
You made a good point. We kind of touched on this yesterday. You want to square that again? You were talking about how, like, if something were to happen and a female goes down with the rest of the team, they're always gonna go.
It's a natural instinct to protect a woman. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I think that women don't belong there, because if there's a man and he's standing in the middle and a woman goes down and a man goes down and this one to his left, this man goes down and needs his help, he's instinctively going to go to that woman.
100%.
Regardless of what he looks at her as in any kind of way, he's going to go to her because men, that they're protectors.
Whether they like her or not, it's going to be an instinctive thing.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And that's
and
not
anybody
right.
that says that, like, oh no, screw her, this and that,
exactly,
it's BS. you're
Yeah.
going to, because it's, especially if you're older, I would be like, that's my sister, that's my daughter, that's like somebody that I have to take care of.
You can think about it like as a civilian side. If you're going to a supermarket and you see a dude having trouble with a shopping cart, as a dude, you're gonna be like, fucking figure it out.
Man up, yeah.
Like you're a dude, figure that shit out. And if you see a woman doing that, you're like, oh, let me run over there and help her.
Well, what day about carrying the boxes and the bags and stuff?
I don't think that was me.
That was you. It was actually the thing.
Boxes and bags?
You were like, because you were like had all this stuff, and then like one chick's got one bag, and everybody.
Yeah, some dude will have like 3 rucksacks on him, and
You were deployed, right?
Yeah, and she had like one backpack, and like 5 dudes rush over to him and be like, "You want help with that? Do you want help? Do you have to grab it?
You're
Anything
like-
else?" And I'm just carrying like all these bags, sea bag, like.
And that's the
falling
thing,
down.
like what he was saying, like
Yeah.
some women would be like, here, take my bag from me, like sure, I'll walk by myself. Some women would be like, no, I'm gonna carry this and I'm gonna screw my back up because I want to be accepted. Like,
Yeah.
and that's where I think, like, I can think of 10 people off the top of my head right now, women that have gotten out in the last 2 or 3 years for hip problems.
Well,
my
aren't
back
women's
is messed
hips,
up.
like they're sideways, right?
Yes.
They're meant to, right?
Childbirthing, we're
Not
meant.
sideways, but like they're on an angle.
Stop
Like,
it.
You're gonna get so
Johnny.
torn up on this video.
anatomy.
And that's why we have Johnny
Johnny
Slicks on
Slicks.
here.
Well, okay, on top of that, like, I know we've kind of talked about this, and if we're going to talk about the equality piece.
Equality.
Do you have that
No, I
quote
don't
on your
say-
phone? Because that would help.
My phone's dead.
Oh.
But, are you talking about the quote I said this
Yeah.
Are we equal? We're equal, right, babe?
Well, and this is what
Hanging.
Just to myself.
there are
can
things
paraphrase
that,
it.
like, yeah, paraphrase it maybe.
morning? It said, this is an Instagram post, so it's not, people are already typing.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, don't read everything. Don't believe everything you've read on the internet. Abe Lincoln. But it said women are too distracted by spending time trying to prove that they can do what men can do, that they're losing their uniqueness. Women aren't meant to do what men could do. Women aren't meant to do what men could do. Women are meant to do what men cannot do. That's what.
Yes, and it
yeah,
is
and I was like,
completely
oh,
true.
shit. That's
Like,
true.
why aren't we focusing on that? Like, why are they focusing on like all the
eventually,
things that
if-
we
yeah.
can't do? Because there's a lot of shit that I can't do.
Like, make
Yeah.
babies.
Like make babies, make food, clean up.
It's like the emotional aspect.
Laundry.
Like, there's decision making that women is good at.
Fueling the stereotypes.
Here's the thing, though.
Hey, I'm married. I can say whatever I want now.
This is the difference. And then he can joke like that and we can do it all day long. But the truth is, I like taking care of you. I like doing things for you that you don't care to do.
Nice.
Because guess what? He pays my bills. We work together and we do, but he always takes care of me and I want to take care of him. So for me, it's not about staying in the kitchen and making sandwiches. I'm Italian. I like to fucking make sandwiches.
Hashtag gender roles.
I appreciate those things, but that's my thing is like trying to fight so hard to be seen differently and accepted as the same as you and create like you're like respect me with your like pussy hat on, like
Oh yeah.
So
like.
drastic.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you're demanding all these things instead of looking at like what sets you apart. You're so set apart. As women, like we're so set apart to like we can be at the same tables sharing conversations and sharing our minds thanks to what our country's rights, right? But like we also can do amazing things together that they can't do.
Which is true.
Like she said, she didn't join or to do something
Right.
you're not who you are, you know? So like, why are women trying to do something that they were not meant or not created to do?
See, what I think happened is they're outside entities were like, let's put women in these roles. People that have never experienced the Marine Corps, people that were in for maybe 4 years and got out, and people that just don't have that experience. I think that a lot of people, if you talk to women that have been in the Marine Corps for more than one enlistment, would tell you like, there's no way you could pay me enough money to go do that. I've been around infantrymen for the better part of my career, and I want nothing to do with that. Like,
Fucking
I'm
savage.
so good. Like, have your weird little things that you guys do together, and
It is.
let me give you all your ammo, and then go home. You know,
Please use it all.
but they're the 18-year-olds that are joining that have no idea what the Marine Corps is like for a woman are like, fuck yeah, like let me go do it. I got this.
Yeah.
But they don't know. So you get somebody that's been in the Marine Corps long enough, and they're just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
What would your advice be to, say you've got an 18-year-old girl that's like wanting to join the military? What would your advice be? And you've been
The
in how long?
military or the infantry? Or like a 03?
No, I would say in the like
12
military.
years.
12 years. So like what, you have an 18-year-old girl just graduated high school and she's wanting to join the military. What would you say? What would your advice be to young Kaitlyn?
You are not a recruiter.
Yeah,
You gotta
I mean that's
disclaim
it's.
that.
I mean, you're a mom now, so you have to
I
start
am.
thinking about these things.
Absolutely. I mean, mental toughness would probably be the biggest thing for me as a woman in the military. I think that everything that we go through is much more mental than anything physical that we can be put through. I've been put in a lot of situations as a woman that I don't feel like I should have had to be in, and I was like people tried to take advantage of me and do certain things, and that's what you deal with as a woman in the military. One, never being good enough for anybody.
I think that's the military in general.
and
You are not good enough no matter what.
But you're under like this big microscope on top of everything. So we're human beings. Women are human. We have sex. Like, we are not perfect. And you are just completely like, no matter what. I remember being at boot camp and then like they're like, you're either a slut or a whore. Or I'm sorry, a slut or a bitch. And I'm just like, what? Like, why is that what
Like,
you're
out the
teaching
gate.
us? Like, why should I need to be identified as either one of those when regardless, like, I learned as soon as I hit the fleet, I'm both of those. Either way. It doesn't even matter what I do. Like, I had people waiting for me when I hit the fleet in the barracks, like, on the catwalks, like, already seen pictures of me, knew I was coming, like, okay, that's how this is gonna go, like.
That shit does happen.
And my
I didn't
my
experience
first
any of
deployment,
that.
No,
my
that
first
shit does
deployment,
happen.
I had 2 higher on the officer side and the staff and CO side, both trying to, like, they were both texting me inappropriately. Well, what do you do in that situation? I'm a Lance Corporal, so who's gonna get taken off the deployment? I am. I'm the low man on the totem pole. So do I want to deploy or do I want to be a rat and tell on these people that are being inappropriate? And that's the kind of situation.
So how do you manage that as a young Lance Corporal?
Pray that you have good leadership.
Well,
And that's why I stayed in as long as I have, because I did not have that when I was a young Marine. I did not have that person to take care of me, and that's what I do now is I try to ensure that my Marines know that I will take care of them at any cost. And that's why I stay in the Marine Corps. It's not because, like, I want to go be a grunt or go do something like that. Like, I know that I've impacted people in a certain way to where they're never going to forget that I took care of them, and that's enough for me because I didn't have it. So.
And she said, save all your screenshot all those text messages and save that shit for later, just in case. Have some leverage.
I mean, the internet wasn't a huge thing when I was a Lance Corporal either. Like, we didn't have.
Wasn't that awesome?
It's great.
Yeah.
Because, the things that I get sent now from my Marines that are getting in trouble for what they post on Snapchat, it's just like, I'm thinking like, well, when I was a Lance Corporal in the barracks, like, no one's ever going to know because it's not documented. But it's insane.
There you go. Don't record everything.
Yeah, you don't need to put yourself underage drinking on Snapchat. You can screen record now. Like, that's what people are doing. It's insane. Like, I can go, hit record, watch what you put on your story, and then send it in, and now you're getting a JP.
So my advice would be...
Starting's like...
Yeah, right? He's like, I'm going to burn them all. My advice would be, if you're a female in the military, if you're female and you want to join the military, which we have a bunch in USMC prep group, and we're getting good results out of the training for them as well, but be in the best shape that you can be, so that you give nobody like any room to criticize you whatsoever. Fucking like smoke all the men, running, pull-ups, push-ups. I mean, if you apply yourself, you will have the ability to leave some men in your dust, and what that will do is level some things out. Now, they might not like you for it, but what it will do is the respect level will go up, and some things will level out. And then also, I would imagine, and you can, being an 18-year-old girl, like, landing at the fleet or in like a group of good-looking men for the very first time, if you're not very grounded, can be pretty exciting.
Yes.
Especially the amount of attention that you're getting. Go slow.
And don't shit where you eat.
Like, well, that's a good, it's better. Yeah, there you go. Go slow, don't shit where you eat. Anything else?
I just think what you guys said is great. Just prove yourself. Don't squawk. Don't bitch. Don't demand special treatment. You are not entitled to anything, right? And any females in any career.
That's what I always say. You're not entitled to anything,
Prove
but
yourself.
you deserve everything you work
Yes,
for.
and that's a lot of female hit the fleet, and they just want, you know, they try too hard to be something, you know, like just, if you can be silent and set the example and like prove yourself silently without having to say a word. Because if you're beating these kids at those runs and stuff, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
If I'm doing 18 pull-ups and I have however many Marines underneath me that can't do that many, that are 18 years old and I'm 31, like that's a problem. And it should be an embarrassment. And if it's not, like, time to go, bud. Like, you gotta go.
Perfect. All right, is that it?
That's it.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You guys know the deal. Leave all those juicy comments below. We want to see it all. And Johnny's taking comments on Illuminati and what else? There was something else?
Recipes for,
Johnny
for the
Slick
women in the
/
kitchen.
dark web.
Yeah,
Find me on the dark net, dark web.
as you guys know, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications on when we're posting these videos. Really appreciate all the love and support so far. Down below is our Patreon if you're wanting to help produce the show and keep this thing going. You can support us there.
Thank you, Kaitlyn, so
Yeah,
much.
thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Yeah, you can find her at Kaitlyn.com. $9.99 a month.
Sure can.
Absolutely not.
All right.
That's illegal. I'm going to see First Sergeant on Monday morning.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the next video.